So my name is Rory O'Connell, and I run the school with my sister Dorina Allen. And we started the school together 26 years ago. And at the time, it was a very small cooking school. I think we took about 12 people on the first course. And then over the course of the last 25 years, so we've expanded. And at this stage, we feel we're as big as we're going to get. We can accommodate 62 students cooking at any particular time. And then sometimes, if it's just a demonstration course, we'll have a bigger group, maybe 80 people. We used to give small little cookery classes during winter when the restaurant was quiet, and then we discovered there was demand for a more permanent school, and that's how it happened. Really, we had the gardens, we had the farm, we're beside the sea, we had the experience, and we hoped the expertise, and we enjoyed sharing that, and that's how it all evolved, really. Well, we had a restaurant already at the hotel, and the cooking school was in a way a sort of an obvious extra little mini industry within the family business. And I said we had all of the bits of the jigsaw, we felt. And also we had travelled to do courses in Italy and in France at other cooking schools, and we felt that we could do something as interesting here. And the concept at the time of having a cooking school in Ireland was unusual, to say the least of it. And the food scene in Ireland has changed in the meantime, but people, certainly foreign guests, thought it was extraordinary that you might come to Ireland to visit a cooking school. But and also we were passionate really about talking and teaching and the philosophy that we feel about food and sharing it with other people. Well, it's rooted in the soil and the land around us, and because we grow a lot of our own vegetables and fruit as much as we possibly can, and we're always expanding that. So that philosophy of growing your own food to harvest and eat yourself for pleasure and nourishment was always the philosophy behind the restaurant at the hotel, because there was at the hotel there's a walled garden, and there were cows and milk and pigs and all that sort of thing. So whole philosophy about, philosophy is even too strong a word, but sitting down at the table and enjoying food seems to us a very simple and civilized thing that we feel everybody's entitled to. It comes back to the concentration for us a lot of the time is on where the food has come from and how it's been reared in the case of animals, or how it's been grown in the case of fruit and vegetables. We feel that food that's carefully produced has a superior flavour than food that is mass-produced, essentially. A lot of the dishes that we do are startlingly simple as well, and they only work if you've got wonderful ingredients. So we're trying to encourage people to search out those ingredients, to grow their own ingredients wherever possible, even if it's only in a window box on a balcony, a city or whatever. So that sort of eye-widening experience you can have if you just have a simple tomato salad or a boiled potato, but because the potato is fantastic and because the tomato is fantastic, it can seem much more rewarding than something that's taken 5 or 6 chefs 4 or 5 hours to prepare. The food that made the hotel at Ballymaloe famous is what we call Irish country house cooking, which was very well prepared food from the farm, from the gardens, from the local butcher, from the local fisherman, and that's for certain would have had influences from France, India, Italy, the countries where people had travelled to from those sort of grand houses. They would have brought back recipes, ideas, seeds, flavours. Where it was the ingredients mostly of the region, there would have been definitely influences from other parts of the world. And there was a time, of course, 20, 30, 40 years ago, when France was seen as being the pinnacle, and French food was the grandest and greatest. So, people were always taking influences from France and also then from other countries. So the Irish country house food in many ways is exactly the same as English country house food or Scottish country house food, because the influences would have been the same. A lot of the ingredients would have been the same. So that's I think the way it evolved. But now, in the last 30 years, food has evolved so quickly because people are travelling so much. So there's influences from all over the world, from Thailand, China, Japan, Chile, everywhere. And we respond to those, and we cook recipes from all over the world. We're particularly interested, for some reason or other, in Middle Eastern cooking at the moment, and so on. Well, again, it's apart from growing our own and having access to all these wonderful things that you've just seen, whatever, at any time of the year, when you're close to something that's growing in the ground, there will always be something that's at its best. Because it's growing, it's the right season for it, and you've given it the right conditions. So even if it's only a head of cabbage, something that's regarded as being, not very glamorous, I will get as excited about a head of cabbage in say April as I will get excited about a spear of asparagus, which is supposed to be much grander in May or June. So it's just about what's in season, and it's if you're following the cycle of the seasons and the way nature has planned it, there's always going to be something there to excite you. So I hesitate from saying that my favourite thing is a tomato, or I prefer to cook with peaches rather than anything else, because actually it's not like that. Whatever is in and right at that particular time, that excites me. That's what keeps my cooking going, and what makes me look forward to cooking all the time, I suppose, really. Well, it's when you see the food growing here, and then you see our students coming in to cook it, and we love sharing our knowledge, and we get a great kick out of it, and what you give, you get back. Certainly in everything really in life, I suppose, but particularly in terms of teaching, it just thrills us, and we just love it, honestly. That's it.